Hey everyone, as 2024 comes to an end, I want to share with you 10 things that I've learned from self-publishing on Amazon KDP in 2024. So I'm recording this on Boxing Day, thus the tinsel and Christmas shirt. But this video is going to be a little bit different. I'm just going to talk through some of the things that I've learned that I hope will help you in 2025. So let's get straight into it. Tip number 1 is just to keep at it. If you're already there creating books on Amazon KDP, the biggest tip that I could recommend is just keep going. At the moment, as you can see here, I now have 146 titles on Amazon KDP. This time last year, that would have been around 80. But if you're starting to sell a few books on Amazon, that's a great indication that if you create more books, you'll sell even more. It makes sense, right? The more products you have, the more money you can make. So that's tip number 1, is just to keep going. And if you've created books and they're not making sales just yet, maybe have a look at some of my other videos, get some tips and tricks to help your books stand out and sell more. Tip number 2 is a new one that I've learned this year and adapted towards, and that is to focus on quality over quantity. Now, back in 2020, when some people on YouTube doing these kind of videos were making loads of money, they were just uploading notebooks. They were mass uploading low content books and they were selling on Amazon. But now, as we go into 2025, the landscape has shifted. And because of tools like AI that allow you to mass produce books quite quickly, quality is more important than ever. And one of the reasons why I've shifted my approach is I've been doing this for a few years now. What I've realized is long-term success is the aim on Amazon KDP. It's not about creating a book and trying to sell it for the first few months. It's about launching a book successfully and getting long-term sales. The way you're going to do that is by creating a high quality book that stands out against the competition, gets good reviews, ranks organically, and then can create an income over years. And that leads me on to tip number 3, and that's trying not to just create more of the same. As I mentioned, Amazon KDP is quite saturated now, so if you're just creating more of the same out there, you're just adding to the pile, really. You're not going to stand out, you're not going to differentiate yourself, and so what you need to do is you need to stand out against the competition. And so, for example, let's say you wanted to create a cat colouring book. If you just create a generic cat colouring book with 50 pages, price it the same as everyone else, it's very unlikely you'll get any sales or stand out. But if you do what some people are doing, be a bit more creative with it, try and create a way to stand out. There are things like cat butt colouring books, swearing cat colouring books. Those kind of unique and interesting takes on a certain genre are the way that you're going to stand out. And one thing that you shouldn't be doing is you shouldn't be copying other people. Because those cat swearing colouring books, for example, the first one that came out would have sold really well, but then copycats flood the marketplace as well, and that's going to lead to less sales for everyone. So try and come up with something unique. That's the way that you're going to stand out and get more sales. Tip number 4 is something that I've been preaching for the past year, and that's the importance of using ads to launch your book. And how the Amazon algorithm tends to work is if you're using a keyword ad to launch your book, for example, you want to sell a cat colouring book. So your keyword string is cat colouring book for adults. If you're not using ads to try and rank for that search term, I think you'll get 0 sales from that search term. But if you manage to get 20, 50, 100 sales from that search term, there's every chance you're going to rank on page 1 organically. And that's what you want to be doing because that's going to set you up for long-term success. So that's why we use ads to launch our book. We give it a boost in the first few months that it's live, and we try and rank organically for search terms. Tip number 5 is the importance of using A+ content. And so if you come on over to one of my books, I'll show you exactly what I mean. And so if we scroll down on this book, you can see the From the Publisher section. So this is a visual space for you to sell your book. So if you compare this section where you can see a little bit more of the interior, it looks a lot more professional. People might see certain colouring pages and think, oh yeah, I really want to colour that page in. It's a great space that you should be utilising. And there's one extra thing on the Amazon A+ content which is absolutely amazing. And that's a similar products chart that you can add. So this is on another book, but as you can see here, they've got 6 additional products that this colouring book is recommended on the A+ content section. And so all you need to do is add the ASIN, and then all of this information is pulled. It includes the add to cart button. And so if someone likes to look at the colouring book, it's very easy for them to then scroll down and add additional colouring books to the basket. So that might turn one sale into 2 or 3 sales, which is incredibly powerful. Tip number 6 is the importance of front cover. On Amazon KDP, the front cover is absolutely essential. Because if your front cover's not standing out, people aren't going to click on it, people are going to think it's low quality, and they're not going to buy it. And so what I like to do is, let's say we're searching for cat colouring books for adults. These are the first 8 results that pop up. And so what I would do is I would drop my cover on top of one of these results and see if it stands out against the others. The likelihood is if it doesn't stand out, if it's not bold enough, bright enough, legible enough on thumbnail view, you're likely not going to get many sales. So that's one thing that I've learned this year, is the key importance of the front cover. Tip number 7 is quite a straightforward one. And that's, if you've created a book that is selling well, either through ads or organically, you should be doubling down on that niche or that type of book. So let's say you've created a colouring book in a certain niche and it's selling, create a second book, a third book. That's probably the easiest way to double down in that area and get additional sales. On the flip side, let's say you've created a word search book for adults and it's selling really well. Create more word search books because they're obviously in demand. Creating more books in that series, linking them all together on the A+ content is a great way to create a little bubble for your books and get additional sales as well. So for me in 2025, I'll be splitting my time pretty much 50-50. I'll be doubling down on the things that I know work, and then I'll be trying to find new niches and new areas and new types of books where I can expand my income stream. So that's what I do. I like to try and split between doubling down and finding new areas. Tip number 8 is really important on Amazon KDP, and that's building a brand. If you've got good brand recognition, such as someone like Coco.io, people are much more likely to buy your books. So if someone buys a book, they love it, they know your brand, they're much more likely to search out your brand and buy additional books. And so that's what you want to be doing in 2025. Build your brand, even if it's just on Amazon to begin with. But then what you want to be doing ideally is building a website, social media profiles, additional spaces that people can follow you and engage with you off of Amazon. And that's kind of protecting yourself for the future. Because let's say you don't want to publish on Amazon anymore, or they go bust or whatever. You still then got a mailing list, you've got a website where people can reach you, you've got a Facebook page, whatever it is, you've still got ways to reach your customers outside of Amazon. Tip number 9 is leaning into new technologies such as AI. So AI can be a great tool, but what I would recommend not doing is just using it solely to create your books. Having an automated book completely generated by AI, that's not the way that I think you should be publishing. Now, I know a lot of people hate AI, some people love it. I make use of it as a tool. So I use it just like I'd use Photoshop. If I need an image generating, I'll do a prompt, I'll get that image, but I'd also then take it into Photoshop and retouch it and make sure that it's high quality. And my recommendation would be the same to you, because especially in crafty areas like colouring books, if people think your book is AI generated, they're likely going to give it 1 star. So you want to be taking it, crafting it, adding a human element to it, maybe mixing different elements, putting it into a single page, however you want to do it. But I would highly recommend having some sort of human element to your pages. That's going to make it high quality, it's going to help it in the long term to get more sales, and it's going to help it to get better reviews. And then my 10th and final tip is build towards the Q4 period. So if you come onto my report section for Amazon KDP, you can see that this is my orders for the year so far. So I've got over 20,000 orders in 2024, but if we come down to the orders by month, you can see that the orders are pretty steady all the way up until October. But then in November they doubled, and then in December they pretty much doubled again. And that's because books are a great gift on Amazon. So my recommendation is keep chipping away at adding new high quality books, launch them with ads, and really try and ramp up your ad spend, your launches towards that Q4 period. Because as you can see here, the orders are going to drastically increase over November and December. And that's it. That's my wrap up for what I've learned in 2024. I hope this was helpful. If I've missed anything out, make sure to drop a comment down below. I hope you all have a happy new year, and I wish you all the best in 2025 in your self-publishing businesses. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll see you in the new year.